What is up, guys? Architect here with my review of Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2019. To start things off, we're going to talk about the campaign. The Modern Warfare single player is actually pretty good, and the reason why it's pretty good is because it seems like they went back to their roots with this one. And when I say that, you have to understand that back in the day, back before Call of Duty got to where it is in today's gaming industry, it used to be a single player heavy game. You had Big Red One and games like that. And even when it progressed into a multiplayer game, it still had a good story, like Modern Warfare, Modern Warfare 2. Even Modern Warfare 3, even though not considered by me to be a good Call of Duty game, had a decent story mode. And Black Ops 1 as well. Black Ops 2, that's where it started to fall down, but it still was at least playable. So it was kind of a breath of fresh air to go back into playing a Call of Duty single player that's not only good, but also deep. And you have to look at it a certain way to understand why it's deep and how deep it is. This multiplayer, not multiplayer, this single player is different in the aspect that it's touching on subjects that most people don't want to see. It has child violence. It has, friendly fire, murder, and betrayal. It has all those kind of things, and as well as it has scenes in it that people don't want to see. It's a game where you might not like what you see. It's a game where there's going to be decisions that you have to make in the game that you might not want to make, that will be uneasy for you to do. Now, even if someone who's just, say you're a streamer, even someone who's watching you play the game might turn away at what they're looking at. There's scenes in the game where people just don't want to see what's going on. For example, there's a torture scene. There's a scene where someone gets waterboarded. There's a scene where your player, is holding a gun to a child and a mom while trying to get information out of an enemy. There's moments in the game where is deep. It touches things that people wouldn't normally see in a modern game. And when I say that the storytelling is good, I'm not talking about just like the script. I'm talking about how the game is paced. The characters, how the characters are developed. You care for Farah. You experience her story. She's developed in a very good way. You play as her when she's a child. You play as her when she's a prisoner of war. So you get to learn her. You get to experience her. And that's how you build a character. I'll compare it to the Division 2. Division 2 has a character named Kelso. You're supposed to care about Kelso. You don't. She has no real character development. You have no reason to care for her whatsoever. However, in Modern Warfare, you care about Farah because she has a developed character. She's developed well. Her voice acting is done phenomenally. And the same goes for the other characters like Kyle Garrick and Alex. Those are the two characters who you play as, and they're both done very well. And obviously you have Captain Price, who just like before is great. So beyond that, you also have the visuals, and the visuals of this game. This is by far the best looking Call of Duty game to date. To me, the one that looked the best before this game was Advanced Warfare. Advanced Warfare might have been a good game, but the campaign for that looked great in terms of the visuals. This game looks phenomenal, even from the weapons to the environment to the vehicles to the character models, even to the motions of their face. And you can tell that Infinity Ward focused a lot on that. There's a lot of moments in the game when there's cutscenes where it's very obvious that they're trying to show you how much care they put into facial features and facial emotions and facial movement. In comparison to, say, the Outer Worlds. The Outer Worlds, the characters basically have no personality. They have no character motion whatsoever. They just look bored and tired. The only thing in their face that moves is their mouth and their eyebrows. That's not realistic. This game, the characters look realistic. Their cheeks move. Everything about their face has some form of movement like you would in real life. You can see their emotion. You can see their feelings. You can see it just looks more realistic. And that's obviously what they tried to go for when it came to this campaign. Which again is a good campaign. I cannot stress it enough that this is a good campaign. And honestly, I bought the game because of it. I did not buy this game for the multiplayer because for the beta, I didn't enjoy it that much. But I did buy this game for the campaign. I don't care if it's 6-7 hours. I bought it for the campaign, and I enjoy myself. And that's all that matters when it comes to how much money you spend on a video game. Did you enjoy yourself? Did you have fun? and things like that. And I enjoy myself. This is a great campaign. Like, if I was just writing the campaign by itself, I would give it an 8. I would give the campaign by itself an 8. 8 out of 10. Just by itself. And it's hard to like describe how good it is without, comparing it to other games of the likeness. Battlefield struggles to get a good campaign. Yes, the Bad Company campaigns are good, but outside of Bad Company, Battlefield struggles to have good campaigns. And even though Battlefield is more realistic than Call of Duty when the campaigns, at least before this Modern Warfare just blows Battlefield campaigns out of the water. Doesn't blow up. Bad Company's still better. Bad Company still has the better campaign when it comes to Battlefield versus Call of Duty. But this campaign blows out of the water. It seems tactical. It seems realistic. It seems like you're actually experiencing, a real military story, which originally was Call of Duty's thing. Call of Duty back in the day was all about telling you a military story. So to talk about the Modern Warfare multiplayer, it gets a little weird because I made a video before, and I'll link it to this video at the end where I talked about the beta. And it's hard to talk about Modern Warfare's multiplayer because it doesn't really make sense. As in, at its core, it's a good game. At its core, things work the way mechanically that it should. The time to kill isn't too terrible. It's kind of inconsistent. The guns work very well. The guns perform very well. They sound good. The recoil patterns visually are good. Things like that is all good. Visually, the game looks phenomenal when it comes to multiplayer. But at the same time, it goes from that to just being a mess. Like, sometimes it gets a little laggy. Sometimes guns seem like they don't. Time to kill is inconsistent. So sometimes when it comes to time to kill, you'll take you 2 or 3 shots to kill someone. And by that I mean like pulls of the trigger, not like actual 2 or 3 bullets. And then sometimes it'll seem like you'll put a full clip to someone and it doesn't do anything. And then you have how the game basically doesn't want you to move. And that's kind of how I feel when it comes to the multiplayer of this game. It doesn't want you to move. Everything about the multiplayer for Call of Duty Modern Warfare is all about sitting still. This game does not. When it comes to the perks, when it comes to the streaks, when it comes to the sound, when it comes to the maps, the game does not want you to move. All the maps are designed in a way that wants you to sit in windows. All the maps in this game are designed for you to sit in corners. All the maps, all the perks in this game are built towards, not moving around. In the perks that promote moving around, they nerfed. So here's the thing. Say you're a rusher. This game does not cater to you whatsoever. 1, dead silence is a field upgrade, not a perk. So therefore, you don't have a permanent dead silence that you would have in previous Call of Duty games. 2, the game has insane sound, meaning everyone can hear where you're coming from at every single moment of the game. You cannot be a rusher if everyone's just sound horn the entire time. So because of the fact that the sound in this game is so extreme, people don't move. People are afraid to move. Because if you move, you're going to get hurt. Use dead silence, that's not a perk anymore. You don't have that active perk that keeps people from being to hear your footsteps. I feel like that nerfed dead silence made it to where people just don't move. And because the way the maps are designed, people don't move because if you do move, you just get sniped. Everyone's just sitting in the corner, a stationary playstyle. And that's the biggest issue with it. For me personally, I'm a rusher. I like to run around. I like to hit flanks. I like to just non-stop push your spawn, push your flanks, and get kills that way. And this game does not want you doing that. This game wants you to sit still. I remember the developers said this is the most diverse Call of Duty game when it comes to playstyles. It's not. They do not want you moving. They want you sitting still. They want you. There's like 4 reconnaissance streaks in this game. You have your personal radar, you have your UAV, you have the advanced UAV, and there's another that I'm forgetting about. I think it's like a field upgrade. But so everyone has all these extra forms of reconnaissance, make it basically where you have to use ghosts. If you don't use ghosts, then your own radar is basically just non-stop. And again, if you're a rusher, if you're someone who likes to hit flanks, you're going to need ghosts. Because if you don't, your entire plan's killed. If you're like me, like I said, I'm someone who rushes and hit flanks. I have to have dead silence. I have to have ghosts. Because if I don't have those 2 things, they know exactly where I'm coming at all times. because there's always a UAV up, there's always a person radar up, there's always all these different kind of reconnaissance up. And then the other thing that's in this game that's super irritating is your player, your character, calls things out loudly. And it's the silliest thing ever because the enemy players can hear your character. Your character will go, I see an enemy, and now they know where you're at. Why? Why is that a thing? Why is it a thing in this game to where the end game character will shout out what they see? That gives up your position. I've gotten kills by hearing the enemy players say things out loud, and I've gotten killed because my character says things and the enemies hear me. That's not fair. That's not fun. I don't care if you think it's realistic. That is stupid. Why would you have that in your game to where the characters call things out on their own? Like, I understand if like we the player have that decision and we decide to do that. Like, say you're like playing like Battlefield. Battlefield has a spot feature. So in Battlefield, when you spot someone, that's where your character starts to talk. They don't just randomly say things. They only say, I spotted an enemy when you spot an enemy. When you actually hit the button to spot an enemy. Not in Modern Warfare. Your character will call out things just at random without you saying anything, without you doing anything, without you pressing any kind of buttons, and it gets you killed. But again, I want to get it across that it's not even a bad multiplayer. They need to just tweak some things and it will be ironed out. They need to make it to where it's not catered to just sitting still, but make it more balanced towards, all playstyles. Be that changing dead silence back to being an actual perk. Be that, buffing up some other things, nerfing the sound. You have to find a way to make it to where people who rush aren't backed into a corner. I'll tag a video at the end of this video that I want you guys to watch. So when this video is done, when this review is over, you can go ahead and at the end of this, click on the little end card screen, whatever, and watch this video. Basically, what's going on in this video is this YouTuber, I forgot his name, but he's basically, giving detail. He's going point by point on, what causes the camping issue in this game and how he thinks they can fix it. And he basically says the exact same things that I keep telling people, which is, you gotta buff dead silence. You gotta nerf the sound, the footsteps in the game. You gotta do something to the mini map to where it makes it more obvious that people are present. You gotta buff suppressors. You have to do things to make camping less powerful. Because that's what the thing is when it comes to the camping in this game. It's the only playstyle. Infinity Ward said that they buffed camping to a point to where it is in the game because they felt like camping was in the background in the previous Call of Duty games, and they want the game to be more balanced towards all playstyles. The only downside is them buffing camping killed another playstyle. And here's the thing. I'm not even saying get rid of camping. Like, I know it's gonna come off as I'm saying everyone should just run around and play the playstyle that I play. Everyone should do what I do. No, I'm not saying get rid of camping. Obviously, people play different ways. My thing is, you have to allow that balance to exist of, the game can cater to more than one ways. Like, part of why I enjoy, Black Ops 4, Black Ops 3, Black Ops 2. Part of the reason why the Black Ops games multiplayer are enjoyable is because they do have a balance. Yes, there's camping. Yes, there's rushing. Yes, there's flankers. Yes, there's people who hold power positions. And, you can do all those things in Black Ops games, and that's what that's why I've always said it's like Black Ops games to me are the better of the Call of Duty games in terms of multiplayer. Maybe not so much when it comes to single player, but for the multiplayer, Black Ops usually does better than Modern Warfare does because it's way more balanced when it comes to playstyles. And this game just ultimately went with the route where they don't want you moving. It doesn't cater to anything other than a stationary playstyle that holds power positions. There's so many windows, there's so much clutter, there's so many corners, so many lines of sight, so it's like, if you're a rusher, you have no incentive to freaking rush. There's no reason for you to rush because if you do, you're gonna die. The game's against you moving. There's so much reconnaissance in the game where it's against you moving. There's so many UAVs. There's so many radars. It's against you moving. That's ultimately the issue, and they need to find a way to dial back on, just one playstyle being the focus. But not even just that, there's other issues with the multiplayer. For example, overkill. Overkill is probably the most used perk in the game and probably the strongest perk in the game. What does overkill do? Overkill allows you to carry 2 primaries. So more often than not, what people are doing is they're bringing the M4 and bringing a shotgun. Things like the 7.25 is what they're mostly bringing. And what this allows people to do is it allows them to camp long lines of sight. And if someone tries to push their camp spot, they have the shotgun to rely on, which is a one-shot kill at insane ranges. So you have this super strong shotgun, and you have the M4, which is a pretty good gun in the game. It's probably one more balanced, one of the more useful weapons in the game, all around good gun. And it's just ridiculous. So they need to do something. I don't know how you can balance overkill. I don't know. I feel like overkill and dead silence should switch spots. I feel like dead silence should be a perk and overkill should be a field upgrade. Like, I don't know how you would go about that, but I feel like overkill is just an overkill. Like, it's literally what it is. The name of the perk is what it is. It's overkill. So, how do you go about it? And it's not like overkill is affecting the game with other weapons. It's just the shotguns. It allows people to bring a regular rifle and then a shotgun. And there's a lot of lobbies I've been in with this game where you would think you're playing Gears of War, because it seems like everyone's using a shotgun. Everyone's running around with a shotgun. Everyone's sitting in corners with a shotgun. Everyone's hiding with shotguns. Everyone has a shotgun, and they're usually using it with overkill. So when they get switched to their actual primary, which is usually a rifle that they can camp windows with. So what I would say is, I'm going to give this game 3 different scores. I'm going to give it a multiplayer score. I'm going to give it a single player score and an overall score. For the multiplayer, I'm going to give Call of Duty Modern Warfare a 5. At its peak, if they do come up with updates that nerfs the shotguns, that buffs dead silence, that buffs other playstyles to where camping isn't the only thing people can do, then I will say it's at best a 7. On its best day, this game's a 7. This multiplayer is a 7. But right now, in the current state the multiplayer is in, it's a 5. For me, it's a 5. So overall, I think Modern Warfare is a good game. I know that if you watch my live streams, I trash this game a lot. That's mostly a reaction to the maps that I'm playing on. Like I didn't mention it when I was talking about the multiplayer, but the maps in this game are not good. Like, there's no maps in this game that I think are good. There's no maps in this game that I actually like. I feel like all these maps are just bad. And it's kind of the look of them. There's the clutter of them. It's how they cater to, like I said before, they cater to camping. There's one map, I think it's on London. It's a London map, and it's like buses and shit. It's a mess. That map's a mess. Like, I've never seen a map that's such a mess. And I feel like that's what I can say about the maps in this game entirely. A lot of the maps in this game are just a mess. They don't have that clean look to them that most shooter maps have. Like, if you play Halo, if you play Gears of War, if you play Battlefield, if you play previous Call of Duty games, there's a cleanness to them that they have. And I'm not talking about like a clean as in like dirt clean. But this is a mess. The maps in this game are a mess. But besides that, the multiplayer is not terrible. Again, I said it's a 5. At its best, on its best day, if they do patch things up and make it to where people who like the rush and flank can do that, it'll be a 7. The campaign's an 8. The campaign is a good campaign. It's worth playing. It's worth experiencing. Again, I literally bought the game because of the campaign. It's a good campaign. From top to bottom, from inside and out, there's nothing I can say about that campaign other than it's worth playing. I haven't tried Spec Ops yet. I'll look into doing that pretty soon. Will I do a video about it? Sure. If you guys want to see a Spec Ops video, then I'll do a video about it. I'll probably live stream it pretty soon. I can't really talk too much about survival because it's not really a thing. Because I'm on Xbox, so being on Xbox, there is locked content that I can't play because it's on PS4 for a year exclusively. That whole deal. And yes, that does kind of affect the review because that means I can't play your content. So overall, what would I give the overall score for Modern Warfare? If the campaign's an 8 and the multiplayer's a 5, I would say the overall score probably a 7. That would probably be like the median of those two. I would say overall it's a 7 out of 10 with the potential of being an 8 out of 10. With the potential of being an 8 out of 10. The game has potential. That's the best thing that I could say about Modern Warfare. It has potential. It could potentially be a good game. They just have to make it to where people who like to rush can actually fucking rush. With all that said, guys, this is a review. Thank you all for watching. I hope you enjoyed. I hope you all have a good day. If you want to watch me play the game live, my link to my Twitch being in the description box below. I am running a constant giveaway on my Twitch. What the giveaway is, basically, once I hit 50 subscribers, I'm giving away a gift card of your choice. PlayStation, Xbox, Steam, Walmart, Amazon, whatever. Whatever gift card you want, you get. I will randomly select one person from the subscribers. I'm not gonna do like Gleam. Won't be like a just random looking at a raffle or some shit like that. I will pick someone at random who subscribes to the channel, and that person will win. That winner will be picked when I hit 50 subscribers, and every time I hit 50 subscribers, a new gift card will be given out. So if you want to take part in that, follow me on Twitch, subscribe, all that good stuff. And again, thank you all for watching. I'll catch you guys next time. Peace.